Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, where we take you on a journey into the unknown and explore the darkest corners of the human experience. I'm Sky, the AI voice of the show, and I'm excited to introduce your hosts, Bobby Washington and Carolyn Gray. Together, they will be your guides through the eerie and unsettling tales that lurk in the shadows. From ghosts and hauntings to cryptids and extraterrestrials, we cover it all. So, get comfortable, turn down the lights, and prepare yourself for a journey into the macabre. It's time for Strange Darkness Radio.
This is your host, Bobby Washington.
And this is Carolyn Gray.
Back for another episode. Carolyn, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you, Bobby?
I'm doing amazing. I just wanted to say I love the interview you did with Melanie. It was amazing episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys were really good. You were asking those in-depth questions, and you seemed to enjoy yourself quite a bit there. It was really cool to hear you do your thing.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad because I felt like I was dragging it on and on, but she was awesome to talk to. So yeah, it was a really good conversation.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Oh no, you're welcome. Definitely. So we have on tonight's show Silverayne, and I'm gonna let Sky go ahead and get us into it.
Welcome to yet another captivating episode of Strange Darkness Radio. Today, we set out on a truly mesmerizing journey into the mystical realm of soul contracts. Guiding us through this exploration is the immensely knowledgeable resident witch, Silverayne. Prepare for a thought-provoking and enlightening adventure as we delve deeply into the intriguing concept of why and how our spirits forge these pre-birth agreements or contracts with other souls or entities, all in pursuit of fulfilling specific lessons. So let's embark on this illuminating discussion that unveils the hidden secrets of soul contracts. And a heartfelt thank you to Silverayne for gracing us with her presence on tonight's show. Welcome.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Welcome back, Silverayne.
Thanks for having me.
So, soul contracts. Give us a little synopsis before we get into it about the whole, how do you want to say it? Agreement you make with yourself before you enter this world.
The whole concept is really fascinating, really. My familiarity with them is, of course, reincarnation.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a very intriguing aspect of it because, it's like the aspect of, making an agreement off of a life that you haven't lived yet, but your soul knowing like what you need or what it thinks you need to improve, or, how they say to get through different stages of, the spiritual realm. And you keep, learning and growing, as a spirit, not only as a person, but as a spirit. And you set all these things in place for yourself to challenge yourself and see if you can meet these goals. So just to kind of steer us in the right direction, I'm going to have Sky, hit us with like 5 questions that we can kind of tackle to get a better understanding of, how the concept of soul contracts play out.
Is it kind of, I know Sky might ask this same question, but is it kind of like predestiny? Is it like, it's like an agreement you make before you're born, right? That's what you meant with the reincarnation. So is it like something that's predestined, or is it like something that you're supposed to do that you might not complete, or like, how does that work?
It's basically something that an agreement with your future selves, I guess.
Okay.
We set forth in this life to learn lessons, and some of them, when we pass on, our life is finished. We feel that we are done. And some others, we have unfinished business and we want to come back and we're wanting to get it right the next time.
So it can be kind of like a job that you're supposed to do in your lifetime. And if you don't complete it, you have the next lifetime to sort of finish it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much from everything I've read so far. But again, we're going to go ahead and let Sky go ahead and lead us into this.
Soul contracts, also known as exclusive contracts, are agreements that grant one party exclusive rights within a specific scope. Here are 5 interesting aspects about them. One, pre-birth agreements. Have you ever wondered if souls have the ability to choose their parents, siblings, and even the challenges they'll face in life before being born? Imagine the possibilities of exploring the concept of pre-birth agreements, where the path of a soul might be shaped even before it enters the world.
Now, Silver, I find that one extremely interesting from this aspect. There are good parents and there are bad parents. But to say that you actually choose your parents knowing going in like they're horrible parents, because obviously everyone would choose great parents, who are rich and will give them the world
Right.
and everything else. But I guess the whole concept of that is to challenge yourself or basically put yourself through hell because for whatever reason, your spirit thought that you needed to go through whatever that drama is. To me, that concept is just, wow, it's mind blowing.
As far as, choosing our parents, it's not so much as that, as well as it is, our souls correspond with other souls.
Mm-hmm.
So during prenatal meetings, human souls negotiate agreements to collaborate and develop further on Earth.
That's interesting.
I was born to, and I don't like speaking ill of, my birth mother.
Yeah.
And there's a whole other thing about that people are in a disagreement with, well, she was your mother. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a horrible human being.
Yeah.
And then I was adopted at birth. So no, as far as picking my parents, I didn't pick either.
Mm-hmm.
But, sometimes that, as far as parents are concerned, that's the hand we're dealt. A soul contract is, you're having a heart-to-heart with your potential selves.
Yeah.
So you die, you get to, what? I wasn't finished yet. All right, let's get going. Let's put you in another body and start this all over again.
That's interesting. Yeah, because in researching this, sorry, Carolyn, only because I've been doing so much craziness with the research on this, because, there are a lot of people who believe that everything that's predestined before you come here, you actually map out, because these are things and challenges that you need to tackle and overcome. And you can still choose the wrong paths, but it's about, restarting and, going into certain aspects of your life that challenges you, opposed to making it so, easy. It's never, you take the richest person, they have so many other issues in life. I don't think anyone theoretically has it easy, regardless of how rich or poor you are. There are, very bad days and very good days. But, from the things that I've been researching on this topic, it seems that these obstacles are set up for you to challenge yourself or things that you needed to finish in past lives, because there's so many different lives and connections, with different people you meet. And it could be your siblings, it can be the friends, the coworkers, just all aspects of it. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Bobby, I have something to say. So you're going to laugh at me, but to get back to what you were saying about, why would someone choose to have terrible parents? I've asked a psychic that question before.
Oh, okay.
Because I've heard that before, that we choose our parents. And I've also heard that we don't choose, but we know how we're going to die before we're even born.
Ooh, that's not good.
And so, right. that's creepy. But so my question was kind of what you just asked. Why would we choose to live, why would we choose to be born in horrible circumstances? Why would we choose to be born to terrible parents? Why would we even be born if we knew we were going to die a horrific death or be murdered or something like that? And basically what they told me was, we are here so that God or, the spirit or whatever you think of it can experience everything.
Yeah.
And that includes the good and the bad. So it is kind of what you're saying. It's like to grow and to learn yourself, but it's also to just experience everything.
Interesting. What's your take?
You know what I mean?
Sorry.
I mean, I agree with the psychic because, I also do that kind of work myself. So people would often ask, why was this child born into horrible circumstances and
Right.
died in a horrific way? The human condition is to challenge yourself.
Right, and that
like the
includes going through
situation we're
terrible
put on,
things.
how far are we willing to go?
Right.
Having thyroid cancer, just like, okay, cool, what life lesson am I going to learn from this? And it's just keep going.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean, I've literally looked into the positive outlook of how I live my life now, and that's cool. I've got thyroid cancer, and I was actually working on a book, the cancerism books of the things you could to do to enjoy your life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and that's such a good point, because everyone should do that. And I mean, it's not always possible, but what you just said, everything negative or bad that happens to you, you can always, instead of dwelling on it and letting it make you be miserable, you can think to yourself, well, why is this happening? What can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? What can I do with it? And, turn it into something more positive, or at least deal with it in a more positive way.
My friend and I were on this walk. We were headed to the store, and we ran into this gal that was extremely distraught. And she was just talking about her life story and all the stuff that she was dealing with. And she's like, rich people problems. And to listen to her problems were no different than mine or anybody else's. If you want to peel back the layers, okay, yeah, the difference that divides us is money. Okay, but her current circumstance, I was there, and now my circumstances are better than hers.
Mm-hmm.
So just because we feel that we look on someone's life on the outside, we can drive by the McMansions and thinking their lives are so amazing and so perfect, and you get jealous and not realizing below the surface their life might be actually
they have
terrible.
issues too. Right.
Yeah, exactly. That is very interesting. Okay, let's get into our next one.
2. Soul contracts and relationships. Picture this. Could the connections we form with certain individuals be based on ancient soul contracts? Can you imagine the idea of souls reuniting across lifetimes to learn, evolve, and grow together? We're about to delve into the intriguing realm of soul-level relationships.
Now that's very intriguing, just based upon, because you can have a great mate, wife, husband, spouse, and they're good in one world or universe, but then they suck in the other, and they bring all kind of trouble and strife. But yet you keep connecting with them because, again, it is your soulmate, and you're wondering in the bad, form that they're in, like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? And all the while, this person is your person that you intertwine with and interconnect with on a regular
You're like tied
basis.
to them karmically.
Yeah, exactly. For however long you may be in a relationship, and then, for whatever reason, the next thing you know is that you're divorced, or you were with that person for a year, a month, whatever, but yet you keep intertwining with these particular individuals, and it could be more than one. So I find that very intriguing also. Your group of friends or set of, fellas or, mistresses that you, end up with.
Absolutely. I feel like with that, I believe every single person that you come across in your life is a lesson. The abuser is the lesson and to trust your gut. Last time you didn't, this time you need to.
Yeah.
All the rotten people in your life is basically a lesson to you. And I'm not saying that people deserve, to be horrifically abused. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that you chose to ignore your own gut at one point. The same thing with the love of your life. You're always going to be connected in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they were your soulmate in this life doesn't mean they will be in the next. But every person is a lesson.
That's
You can
Right,
learn from
and people
absolutely
switch roles
everybody in
too,
this
don't
world.
they? Like you could be in one lifetime, someone could be your brother. In another lifetime, they may have been a good friend. In another lifetime, they could have been your dad. You kind of switch roles around, don't you?
Yes, you do. Like a little, that's why there's, especially when it comes to like a partner, there's some sort of weird familiarity with that person that you're absolutely comfortable with and you're convinced that they're your soulmate.
Right, and
And
you
a
just
soulmate
connect right
doesn't always
away.
have to be romantic.
Yeah, it's a person that
That's
you
your
connect
person.
with. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's true.
Interesting.
I mean, even your soulmate comes in animal form.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
That's what your heart animal is.
Yep.
My cat died in March, and I was blessed with another cat that behaves identically to my last cat.
Mm.
So,
Oh, that's
and
so
his
funny.
quirks and his personality, he is 100% my cat.
Is there a time frame on when the souls come back that you're aware of in any of the, whether it's folklore, whether it's biblical, or in particular books about a time frame when souls
No.
return? Interesting.
I mean,
It's totally unique,
within
right?
your lifetime, and your lifetime isn't set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
And you're living this life, and if it's in your path to start over again once you die, eventually you're going to cross paths
With some of the same people, even in this plane. You know what I mean? Like,
right? Yeah, like the same personalities. Like soulmate A acts like soulmate B, and if you can even see that now in your life, like you run into a person, and it's happened to me a lot. Is I'll run into random people like, oh, you remind me of so and so,
yeah,
or you
I
look
get
like
that a
so and
lot.
so, and like it makes me like I have a lot of relatives and cousins that I'm not even aware about. I did ancestry DNA, and there was like, I don't know, the numbers are like 10,000
Yeah.
plus of relatives that I have out in the world. So yeah, the odds of like, yeah, you act like so and so. That's that soul contract familiarity.
That's interesting.
And yeah, it's very interesting to be like, yeah, you look like or you remind me of, and I've never met this person before in my life. One person was like, you act just like my ex-girlfriend. Like, yeah, I don't know you.
Okay, but when that happens, do you try to be like, oh, let me get your number, or let's keep in touch, or do you try to make a connection there, even though you feel you may know that person, or do you let them just pass and you keep on, keeping on?
I keep on.
Okay.
I mean, it's nothing like, it's not significant to me.
Yeah. Even though that could have been somebody that was really special to you in a previous life, but yet you're making that connection. But on this trip around the sun, you actually bypass that person for whatever the reason is. You still make that contact, but you just keep going, and you don't have that special contact that you had in the last lifetime. Because I tend to.
I don't.
You don't? Yeah, I tend, when I think I feel something from someone, I tend to make it a purpose to just talk to them a
Keep
little
them in
bit
your life.
longer. Yeah, to see if, like, okay, what am I feeling here? Like, what's going on? It's kind of weird. But I feel like I know this person, or this person, I'm supposed to have met this person. And sometimes I actually take it for what it is and say, we were supposed to meet. It's some random guy. He's like, huh, what? It's like, it's just something about you, bro. We were supposed to meet. And, that has happened to me. It's just I feel that I need to say something. I don't know why. It's just a urge.
That doesn't happen to me. Now I feel left out.
I mean, for me, but I do notice like more synchronicity. I believe in synchronicity like hugely of there are no coincidences. You happen to meet that person, you guys have interacted at some point, you can continue on with your life, and then you'll notice more around you that once you become aligned in this world, that things just happen for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of our connections, even in a brief, instantaneous 2-second interaction, that was supposed to happen right on cue.
Mm-hmm.
And it also depends on the feeling like, oh, okay, cool. Or you feel like this absolute magnetic drive towards this person.
Exactly. Yeah, I get that a lot for whatever reason. I do not know why. I can be in a random
people
location.
People I think are hyper fixated on the soulmate that they fail to just even pay attention to the brief, and they get them confused. Like,
Yeah.
no, this was supposed to be like a 2-minute connection, not 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's when we get latched up with a wrong relationship.
Yeah. And I do take it as that 2-minute thing. I don't even extend it past that point. It's just something that I was supposed to experience. And then I kind of linger to see if there's something else. And then that's pretty much it. But Carolyn, you were saying?
Oh, no, just that's an interesting point. Because, maybe some people that you connect with, it is just supposed to be a brief thing and you're just supposed to learn something from that small interaction. It doesn't always have to be this long, soulmate connection. There's tons of people that you probably are meant to meet at one point and connect with at one point, but it doesn't always have to be a soulmate or the one, right? Like there's tons of people you're supposed to learn little lessons from.
Yeah, for me, it's not about a soulmate aspect. It's just about I was supposed to meet that person. That's it. Like
right.
There's just
but
I can feel there's a
Silverayne was
connection.
saying some people just get like stuck on like, oh, I'm looking for the one or my soulmate or you're the one when it's just the wrong person. Like.
That's true. That's true.
Or you'll run into like people that you'll talk with, and there's a familiarity. And then you guys compare notes and you talk about, oh, wow, we were in all these places at the same time. It's like a random.
I never tell them that. I just think it. I just think it, so yeah.
It's happened to me a lot where I run into people that we were in the same place, same time. And I just find that interesting. I almost feel like it's a check-in of the souls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's happened to me too, actually, that I've met people and then we talk a little bit and it turns out we were, living in the same city at the same time or somewhere else at the same time on a vacation or whatever. That's happened to me before. That's interesting.
My first experience ever in a chat room, and there was these two people that had this, when I think chat room relationships were still kind of like, you're crazy. They had been talking forever, and they find out that they were a block apart from each other the entire time.
Oh,
right.
That's interesting. That's kind of weird. Yeah, that's very interesting.
So that's just how it works. The universe works in weird ways.
Exactly. Well, let's get on to the next one.
3. Karmic debts and lessons. The concept of karma often raises questions about whether our past actions have repercussions in our present and future lives. Have you ever thought about whether the experiences we go through are somehow tied to karmic debts or the lessons we need to learn?
That goes out to all the killers. No, I'm just saying. Like people who do these dirty, dastardly deeds and all kind of different things and think they get away with it, and actually, it may come back to them, not even in this life, come back to them in the next life on how they live. And, it's so just mind blowing in the sense of this is going to be crazy. In the sense of, children who get hurt, which should never happen, but was that a past killer? Was that a past situation that person, had to
They had it coming?
Yeah, exactly. It's just so good because it's so weird. It's like you just don't know when it comes to karma, and you think you get away with it and you end up in the worst possible situations that are unfathomable. And, all because you thought you were escaping karma or escaping justice, whether it was, some people say by God, by the universe, or by such and such, because, people are quick to quote, oh, God wouldn't do this, that, or the third, right? Well, all of this happens on this earth. Everything you can think of, imagine, goes on. And, these people have lived multiple lives, if you believe in that thing, to where, karma has a way, and a debt has a way of being paid.
And it's not always their personal debt either. Bobby, have you heard of Brian Weiss? He's actually he was a famous hypnotherapist. I think he's still alive, but he kind of accidentally stumbled upon past life regression, and he began doing it as a real thing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I read one of his books, and at the end of his book, he talks about how one of his patients that he was hypnotizing would have different spirits come through and answer his questions and talk to him about certain things. And he brought up a child that he had lost at a young age. I think he was like a toddler when he died. And the spirit actually told him this child was born and he died in order to pay some sort of a family debt. Wow. Like he willingly sacrificed himself in order to kind of save the family in some way.
Yeah.
I thought that was so interesting. So it's not always like a one-for-one kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always like you do this, that's what's going to happen to you in your next life. I think it's more complicated, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think, Silver?
To me, karma's always been an interesting topic because I see it used incorrectly a lot by a lot of people. It's the Indian philosophy of, causal law by which good or bad actions determine the future modes of an individual's existence. I hate it when people say like karma's a bitch or that's bad karma.
Yeah.
It isn't about retribution. It's how you live this life on earth and how you're going to spend the afterlife.
And it's like the universe rebalancing itself, right? Or just trying to keep this equilibrium.
I want to say yes. I'm not totally familiar with karma because it's not something that I personally follow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I tried getting into it. I was delving into Buddhism a long time ago.
Well, I hope some of those fools get what they deserve.
Yeah, they do.
That's
eventually.
I don't know.
As far as I feel like when children come into this world and they have horrific things happen to them, I don't think it's because they were a serial killer in a past life.
Hey, I'm just throwing it out there. You never know. We
I agree with Silver on that one.
You never know, man. I never leave anything up to chance, especially when it comes to the universe and the sense of what goes on. But here's the thing, though. Supposedly they know what they put in for and what contracts they signed before they even got here. So, even to those particular incidents and scenarios that play out and happen on this earth, if you go off of the soul contract theory, they know what's going to happen. They just have to get here and play it out. So that's interesting within itself, that if I
know there's children that are bad seeds from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of different schools of thought on karma. And I mean, some are right and some are wrong. Like in Scientology, they think that anything that happens to you, you brought on yourself. So if you get attacked, you get mugged, you get, hurt in some way, they don't do anything about it because they say, oh, well, that was your karma for something bad that you did.
In another lifetime or on this planet?
Yeah, like in another lifetime. Okay. So if you get attacked in this life, it's probably because you attacked someone in your past life. But I don't think it's that simple because karma has to start, a karmic thing like that has to start somewhere, right? So sometimes bad things just happen. I don't think it always has to do with karma.
Yeah, but don't get it twisted in the sense of if you're believing in this particular realm of soul contracts, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
you know that I'm only going to live to be 7. You, at the being on
Right,
planet
like you
Earth,
agreed to
you don't
it.
know that, but your agreement that you made before you came here, that's agreement that you made, because you also know
Right.
you're living a bazillion lives. This is just one of those things that you, like Silver was saying, that you want to experience and go through.
Right.
Yeah, there's this one, I can't remember the book. I know it was Hindu based, and there was this God, right? He created, well, it was a God. They would call it something else, but I'm going to say God. He created the universe and the planet Earth, and he said, "Okay, I want to have this experience. I want to go down to Earth and experience what I created, and live out, a lifetime." So he did it, lived out a lifetime. He died. He came, back. And said, like, okay, that wasn't the experience I was looking for, because I knew whatever happened to me, I was coming back and I knew who I was, right? So what he did was, I hate that I can't think of the book. I got to try to find that. But what he did was he made himself forget who he was. And until he lived out every possible life, every possible situation, then he would, come back and say, okay, and then decide whether or not he wanted to keep this ball spinning after he's done everything. And so I found that very interesting, because, we weren't put on this planet to work a job 9 to 5, to do all the things that the system and government has, set us up for. We were here to, besides feeding yourself and doing all the other stuff, whatever, to gather information. I mean, think about it. Your brain, what controls you, what makes you move, what makes you do everything that you do is your brain. Your brain is encased in darkness. Your brain uses your eyes to see, your hands to feel, your senses and nervous system to do everything, legs to move it, because it can't do anything because it's encased in darkness, in a shell. And so it uses all these things or whatever to gather all this information. And the minute you lose your sight, your hearing gets better. And I can attest that from my aunt, who lost her sight at 13, and her hearing was immaculate. And people who lose their arms, they're able to, their body are able to do other things and more flexible. Just things happen.
Adapt.
Exactly. You're able to adapt because your mind is still trying to gather, that information. So I just find that, whole thing, interesting on how the humans are in this realm. So yeah, that's my diatribe.
Yeah, I think the fact that we have a consciousness, because like you said, our brain controls everything in our body as far as muscles and, our heart and all this other, and speech and things like that. But we still don't understand or know what thoughts are or where they come from.
Yeah.
And like our inner dialogue that we have. And I think, and that's our consciousness, right? I think the fact that we have a consciousness is proof that there is some sort of a higher power out there. Because otherwise we would just be like robots, like what you just said, just gathering data, gathering information for our brains. But it's so much more than that.
Oh, yeah.
And I also think it's,
definitely.
I feel that we are all
Right?
cosmic beings having a human experience.
Exactly.
yes, exactly.
I agree.
And it's interesting too what you said about how, and I'm familiar with the story you're talking about, and how he would erase his memory every time he would come to Earth. And that's because it would be like cheating if we could remember all our past lives and we remembered that we weren't really these human beings. We were actually souls coming down here for this experience. It'd be like having the answers to the test already, and we wouldn't really be experiencing anything new, or like learning from our experiences.
People will be checking out more frequently. Okay, I don't like this.
Done with this shit.
Exactly.
I almost feel people that are empaths and psychics, I feel like we do have the cheat code.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
More than others. Yeah, definitely.
I definitely agree.
I mean, there's such thing as called the Akasha records, and the Akasha is the universal life force.
Yeah.
So, and then there's, you probably heard of Kundalini awakening, and that's, where your soul gets eviscerated and you get reborn again.
I've never heard that.
And that's a really interesting, Kundalini is really, I'm learning how to do it. Kundalini awakenings. They're intense.
What is that? I've never heard of it.
It's let's see. The best way to explain it is basically it's another whole energy on its own level.
Hmm.
Like
When you
trying to
do
get to
a
that.
Kundalini awakening, is you've probably seen on Instagram where they have like Kundalini awakening where they're releasing the trauma from your spine and people are having a reaction to that.
Yeah, I have seen
Like
that.
energy work.
Yeah, it's energy work.
Okay.
It's intense energy work, releasing the trauma from your body.
Yeah, and people feel like totally different when that happens. They, you know, a lot of just hangups that they've had, once they get that release, they, you know, feel it's been lifted off of them. I've definitely seen that.
Yeah, they feel brand new.
Okay, let's get into the one that's Carolyn. This should be right up your alley. So here we go.
4. Past life regression. Ever wondered if it's possible to recall memories from past lives? Picture this: individuals undergoing past life regression therapy, unlocking hidden memories from previous lifetimes. These tales might offer fascinating insights into unresolved issues and connections that span beyond our current existence.
Yes.
I thought you liked that one.
What does it have to do with soul contracts, though?
Because it's like what Silver started with. That's the whole point is, you know, these contracts that are, you know, made before you come here, but you're constantly going back and forth. You're living out your life through these particular, you know, contracts that, and, you know, people and this, you know, that and the third. When you pass
your
away,
mission.
yep, you come back again. But guess what? At some point, some people can start to remember those past lives. You know, that's not the contract itself, but they actually lived that life. You know, and then
It's
as
really
you have
fascinating when I
Melanie.
see it happen in children, where children
Oh,
are
yeah.
describing their past life to the nth degree that their parents are kind of like, what? And there's no way that these children could possibly know any of the things that they remembered. I know that I personally remember 3 of my past lives.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
It was triggered by a word in some situations. Some people, if they don't remember a past life, they can check out, I guess, their phobias that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Of why would you be afraid of fire? Why would you be afraid of spiders? Why would you have a weird phobia of water?
Right.
And it's just a matter of being able to go to an appropriate person to tap into that.
So you didn't always remember your past lives. It was something that like triggered it and brought forward a memory. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
The first one was when I lived in Coos Bay, Oregon. I was hanging out with people, and they were talking about this antique store that made them feel uncomfortable because there was a whole display case of Nazi memorabilia. Like, and I'm like, well, that's weird. And I had gone to check it out, and it brought me back to that particular knife that was on display. Belonged to my husband during the war, and he was, of course, a Nazi, and I was his wife, and we, you know, there were many people that were hiding Jews, not just, you know, the famous Anne Frank. There were many people that, you know, saw the human side, and we were taking them in, and it was found out, and I had to watch my husband be executed in front of me for helping these people that were supposed to be, you know, we were supposed to send them off to be exterminated.
Did you buy that knife? I mean, it would be so interesting if you could. Oh, it'd be so interesting if you could have that thing dated or figure out where it actually came from to see if it verifies. You know what I mean? Try to find the history of the object.
It was really just the whole energy of all of the memorabilia was just really, really bad. That I didn't want any of that in my house, because haunted objects tend to have things attached to them.
We're going to go ahead and take a break, and after the break, we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to Strange Darkness Radio. We value your thoughts and opinions, and we want you to be a part of our show. You can call our Strange Darkness Radio hotline at 741-3032 or email us at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com to share your stories or ideas. For more updates and exclusive content, follow us on Instagram at Strange Darkness Radio, Twitter at SD Radio, and Facebook at Strange Darkness Radio to join our ever-growing Strange Darkness Radio family. Stay connected with us, and together let's keep the mystery alive.
All right, and we're back. So, Carolyn, what were you saying now?
How long was I muted?
I don't know.
Well, I was going to tell a story about a friend of my family's that I would actually love to have him on our show. He would be just such an amazing person to talk to. But he's someone that my dad met through his, scientific religious practices, whatever you want to call it. And he's just a very, very highly advanced being. I mean, you can tell just when you talk to this guy that he's very spiritually advanced and just such a kind-hearted man, just really gentle, kind guy. But my dad told me a story about him and a past life regression that he did. And he had a past life regression where he actually saw himself back in like the Dark Ages during the time of the Inquisition. And he was in a torture chamber where they were torturing people for, being non-believers or whatever, witches. And he was actually the person doing the torturing. And that story just blows me away because, I mean, you would never think that this man would ever be capable of that ever. And he's just such a highly advanced person. I mean, it makes no sense. So you never know. You never know what your past holds. You never know what your karma is or what your karmic debts are. Or, it was such an interesting story to me.
Yeah, that is.
It honestly makes perfect sense. He did such a horrific atrocity against humanity that he knew and made it his life's mission to be a completely different human being. I mean, they did that stuff to humans on fear and fear alone and listening to other people driving their fear. And I believe that when you learn about
just following orders.
Some of them, they were following orders, but at some point they made a willful choice to do atrocious things to other humans.
Yeah, for sure.
That is such an interesting point, though. I never thought of it that way, that he was so traumatized and horrified by his actions in that lifetime that he made the decision that in this...
Have you ever heard of the Stanford Prison Experiment?
Yes.
I haven't.
Yeah, but go ahead.
What is that?
So it was an experiment that some people were chosen to be prisoners and some people were chosen to be guards. And how they pushed the limits of their roles to the degree that at some point you made a willful choice to be abusive to another human being.
Yeah.
Even though like your authority figure was telling you need to do this. And it was also herd mentality. The same thing with the Milgram experiments of how far will you listen to authority because an authority figure tells you that you're going to follow orders. But at what point did you yourself make that willful choice because you liked the power that you felt?
Right. And those Stanford
deciding
experiments...
another human's fate.
Yeah. And the Stanford experiments were particularly interesting because rather than an authority figure telling them to be abusive, they were just kind of getting off on the power that they had. I mean, everyone in there was a volunteer, the prisoners and the guards. They were all just volunteering for this experiment. And yet the people acting as the guards let it get to their head and started becoming very abusive to these quote unquote prisoners of their own volition. It's like they finally had the excuse to just act as horrible as they wanted.
So in the case of your dad's friend, yes, it makes perfect sense of who he is today because of what he did to humans, all in the name of a religion.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, for him to already be that way, really kind, nice, and, you know, really religious. And then to get that regression and to hear that, you know, it had to be shocking at one point, but then also on the flip side and say, I'm not even that person. Like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, crazy.
So that's interesting. I can see if he had it when he was 12, he's like, I'm going to be good forever now, you know, but no, he was already an adult.
He was an adult.
Yeah. So that's
and he was
interesting.
horrified. Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, I also call that, like, in a sense of karmic debt, is your karmic debt is to be a better human this go around.
Yeah. See, now that makes sense to me because I couldn't
want to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Exactly. All right, let's get into the last one. And again, it's not the end of the show. It's just the last one that Sky has for us. Hang on.
Okay.
5. Reincarnation and memories. Can memories from past lives influence our behaviors, fears, or talents in the present? People may have multiple contracts with different individuals and groups, each contributing to various aspects of their life journey.
That's interesting. I find that very interesting because I have a thing about first instrument I ever learned. Well, I learned a lot of instruments, but take school out of it. First thing I ever learned was drums. Right, I went from drums to piano, and I used to hate that because I used to get hit on the freaking knuckles with the ruler, So and then I went from
Back in the day.
to guitar. And the one instrument, I love playing guitar. I just don't play all the time. And but the one instrument that I cannot live without and I have to have with me at all times is a guitar. And it's so odd. And I mean, I've tried to not have a guitar just because, you know, I was like, this is kind of weird that I always have to have a guitar with me, around me, being able to pick it up and play. And I know it's something from a past life.
Which is really interesting that you say that, because before you even said what your instruments were that you play, I sensed that about you before you were going to say that.
Oh, wow.
That I sense that about you, that you have music in your life. And if you haven't, it would probably benefit you for you to do an ancestor DNA. Just to see if anything in your lineage is musical. But yeah, I could definitely tell musical. And then I almost want to say with Carolyn about her past lives, I don't know, I'm sensing craftiness. Something about crafty.
Silverayne, do you know what's so crazy? Do you know what's crazy about what you just said? I spoke to a psychic and her specialty was past life stuff. And she told me that I had 2 lifetimes that were in kind of the dark ages, and that in one of them, and maybe she said both, but at least and they were kind of back to back, so they were in a similar time. And she said that I was some sort of a healer, or not a healer necessarily, but I was someone who kind of lived on my own, and I collected herbs, and I did crafty kind of things like that. So that's so interesting that you said that.
Gonna leave the auto body spray out. No.
Right.
Her job.
Well, I was also going to say that too. Like, you were herbs and crafts. Like, I got that sense about you was herbs and crafts.
Maybe I should
just
get into
very
that
strong
stuff.
sense.
That is so cool, huh? Maybe there's something to
that. With the way that the current climate is in the world, I think we would all benefit of getting back to our roots, literally to herbs.
Yeah.
I mean, herbs are medicine.
Nature. But Bobby, I didn't even know you played anything.
Oh,
I had no idea.
She's like, oh, the new studio you made, you just have that for hanging on the wall.
You just have that for just to look cool, right?
Random.
No, I mean, I knew you were into this tech stuff, but I didn't know you recorded or you played music. That's so cool.
Yeah, that was my thing back in the day. And my son does it now.
My brother was a drummer. You probably met my brother. I don't even know, but he used to be a drummer.
That's interesting. That's awesome.
In Sacramento or California?
He played all over. He was born in Southern California, spent time there. He's got famous friends and a big, lineage. His family, I think his father, my brother is related to the Warner Brothers by marriage.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Bobby, maybe you do
So he's
know him.
No. No. My son is he's been on, bunch of different TV shows, and check him
Yeah,
out.
I knew that.
CJ Washington, Christopher John Washington. He's amazing. But so I leave that to him. He's taking it to a whole nother level, which is amazing. But
I have another kind of question for Silverayne. So Bobby's gonna laugh at me again. That same psychic that told me about my past lives, she also told me that I signed a contract before I was born and that I had a soul contract, which is why I think this topic is actually so interesting. I don't know anything about it, but I think it's interesting. But she basically told me that there are people I'm supposed to find in this lifetime and I'm supposed to do something. And she didn't tell me what that something is, but I've always kind of felt like I am supposed to be doing something and I'm not doing it.
podcasting.
So, yeah, I'm sure that was it. That's definitely what she was talking about. I'm done.
Have you ever wanted to write a book?
Yeah, I do, but I don't know if that's it. My question was basically, how can people find out what their destiny is, or if they have a soul contract and they have a purpose that they're supposed to be doing something, how do you figure out what that is? I mean,
first of all, you're not supposed to use cheat code. That's first off. You're supposed to have life experiences and then
give me the cheat code.
Delve into it. And if not, hey, if you miss it, you'll come back and do it again. Trust me. It's just a matter of what timeline you're in to get it right.
Gotta figure it out yourself.
Or you can visit people like me that do readings for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would love to.
I do tarot and I do runestones, and I got into dream interpretations and wax. Wax reads are, you either let a candle melt completely out, and the puddle of wax, you can use divination that way. I like to use them like a Rorschach test. Let the person drip wax on a piece of paper, fold it up, and then I divine what I can see from the picture.
Okay, I was thinking you were going to drip it on the person. I was like, "Ooh, that has to be a painful."
No, you drip it on. You drop it on a piece of paper.
Okay.
And let the person, and So you can get guidance from other people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you can get guidance.
Okay.
That's the cheat code.
I'm definitely sensing from you like something to do with a book, or you've had like a plan for like a little branch out of a different kind of business venture or something, but you want to do something that has meaning.
That is funny.
Okay.
I just got to say, out of you saying that, Silverayne, the funny part about it, when we first met, she sent me a picture of books, like of all the books that she's read, dealing with the topics that we discuss on the show. And I just thought that was very interesting. She's like, and I've read all these books, so Silver's right on. She's right on the money.
I'm obsessed with this stuff. That's why I'm here.
Well, it had to do with me choosing to, I cleansed my house the other day, rededicated, like, basically consecrating my tools back to the craft and making, removing old energies and making them mine. So it was a whole spiritual cleansing I did in my house because I stopped doing psychic reads for a little bit because it takes a lot of energy to interpret all that information, and I'm getting back into it. So I'm paying more attention to like my senses about people.
Would you be able to give someone a reading if they're not in the same room as you? Like, could you do it over Skype or over the phone or something?
Yeah, I've done several via Facebook, and they've all been spot on.
Okay, that would be cool.
Because I can connect. I don't have to do face-to-face. I can connect to people wherever.
Okay, you're gonna hear from me, Silverayne, because I need some guidance.
She's gonna figure it out. Even if someone doesn't figure it out for you, you're gonna figure it out.
I hope.
You're going for the cheat code. All right, let's go ahead and hit up one more commercial. We have to thank GIK Acoustics. So we're going to go ahead and play a commercial. We'll be back.
Attention podcasters. Are you ready to unlock the full potential of your audio recordings? Look no further than GIK Acoustics, now proudly affiliated with Strange Darkness Radio. Introducing the ultimate solution for impeccable sound quality on your podcast or studio, brought to you by GIK Acoustics in partnership with Strange Darkness Radio. Say goodbye to unwanted background noise and hello to a professional audio experience. With GIK Acoustics, you can ensure that every word you speak resonates with clarity and power. Their expertly designed sound panels, bass traps, and diffusers are meticulously crafted to create an acoustic environment that captivates your audience like never before. Visit our affiliate link on our Facebook fan page or find it in our show notes to access this exclusive collaboration. By harnessing the power of GIK Acoustics in partnership with Strange Darkness Radio, you can unlock a world of acoustic excellence for your podcast. GIK Acoustics in partnership with Strange Darkness Radio. Embrace the darkness and let your voice shine. Now let's get back to Strange Darkness Radio.
All right. This has been a great episode. Just to even go down the, why are you laughing? What
Because
happened?
it was interesting.
Yeah. Just because, I mean, some people, believe that, you have the one life to live and then you go on to the pearly gates and, live out the rest of your life in heaven or hell if you end up doing the wrong things. But I do believe that we are eternal beings that, live multiple lives, and we keep coming to this ball that's spinning and to try to figure it out and be better people, as we go forward. And sometimes we get it right and we level up, and and what that leveling up is, I do not know. So it's like, does that make you poor or rich because you went backwards or went forward? No, I don't think so. I think making you rich in spirit and rich in heart, to me, is worth more than any man-made, money or material thing. So that's my thought on it. What are your thoughts, you guys?
Definitely. I think that do better, be better than the last time. I feel like you have an obligation to learn.
Yeah, because that's what it's all about. It's not, yes, it's you have to go to work, if you're the fortunate or unfortunate, or looking for work or doing what, you have to do to survive, obviously. But, you can be nicer to people. You can, someone with a frown, you can turn it upside down. That sounds kind of corny as hell, but that is true because I do it all the time. And the people you meet, that smile that you give them could make their day, change their whole mood, change, their thoughts, about a particular person or a particular situation. And I just think those things are getting lost in all that's going on in the world today. And, that's just my crazy opinion.
Well, we hear productive member of society. Be a productive member of society. And I find that kind of like disheartening, because what if your job in society is to make people smile and that's all you do?
Yeah.
You're the homeless bum that sits on a street corner and your job is to make people smile. But to say that he's not a productive member of society, to me, that's disheartening.
Exactly. That's very true.
I agree. I think one of the problems with society now, and I mean the whole world when I say society, is that some people are very selfish and they're motivated by the wrong things, like, money and materials and having a lot of stuff and buying things. And I mean, it's just so unimportant to me how much money you have or what you wear or what you own. It's like the equivalent to me of having the biggest pile of rocks and thinking you're all that because you have more rocks than someone else. You know what I mean? Like, what I think determines if a person is worthy or a good person is how they treat other people. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yep.
Right, because you literally cannot take your money with you when you die.
That is very true.
Exactly. You can take the lessons that you learned.
That is very true. Because if you don't learn those lessons, you might be back just to replay and redo, and you could even be in a worse situation that you were, the first time around, or the third time, or the fifth time. So, So again, that's just our theories and thoughts, on soul contracts, and what if they're real? How would you deal with your situation and these things that go on in your life? And even knowing that doesn't change anything. If you're like, oh yeah, it's really real for sure, 100%, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. No, life has a way of, sweeping you off your feet sometimes. Yeah. And guiding you down avenues and roads that you never thought you'd go down, knowing everything about situations and circumstances. But somehow, things play out either the way the universe is plotting it, or the way you've plotted it before you actually got here. And,
right.
Silver, so one more question. Can you change your contract?
I believe that your contract can be amended to tweak it as you like. When you're up there and you're plotting, it's like, that didn't work out for me so last time, so can I change it? As long as you fulfill your obligation.
While you're on Earth, can you change it?
That was a good question.
No, not while you're on Earth. What I find interesting, especially as far as, how society works as a whole, and the things that you choose to die on that hill for is sometimes absurd. Because at the end, the coffins are all the same size.
That is true. That is true. As Rebecca would say, though, some are bigger than others. Just had to say that.
She didn't say that. You're funny.
No, I was thinking about this joke that I heard. But anyways, tonight's been a really good show. And Silverayne, thank you for joining us on tonight's show. And Carolyn, we're talking together, in the same show at the same time. No, I was joking.
Oh, I know, crazy. It's been so long.
Yeah, because you guys are going to hear a bonus episode that is already playing before this episode of a call that I did with a guest, Amy, and that's playing now, which, again, you've already heard that, hopefully. And she wasn't on that because I took the call and she was busy. She was indisposed.
Oh, boo. But that reminds me too, I just wanted to let everyone know, I heard we've been getting some requests to go back to our creepier kind of topics. And just want to let everyone know we've got future episodes in the works. We are going to be getting back to our roots of, ghost encounters and demons and things like that. So just don't worry about it. We're going to get back to our roots eventually.
Yes, things that go bump in the night.
Things that go bump in the night.
Exactly. Well, thanks again, Silverayne, for donning the show. You've been amazing as usual.
Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And blame all our pre-show stuff on Carolyn. No, I'm just joking.
All our technical difficulties, they were my fault.
The universe is always a fickle,
conspiring against me, man.
A fickle mate. Okay, we are out.
Ethel, do you know where you are?
My body.
You have passed over. You died.
No. Everything, my body, they took it. It's torn.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
We learned that for the past 8 years, military pilots frequently encountered unknown objects in controlled airspace off both the east and west coast across the continental United States in test and training areas and ranges. We don't know where they come from, who made them, or how they operate.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Cleveland County 911.
I don't know if I should have called this in or not, but
What's going on?
if I'd have had my camera, I'd take a picture of it.
Take a picture of who?
I don't know what it was. He's walking upright like a man. I would not kill it because I was afraid to. But he went back up the mountain.
Cleveland County 911.
Hello.
Can I help you?
Yes. This is Tim.
Uh-huh.
You probably have my address.
Yes, sir. What's going on now?
I shined a light on this thing.
Okay, what did it look like?
It looked like a giant ape with a man's face. But I was afraid to kill it. And it made a whistling sound. He was about 9-10 foot tall with real long arms. I go out there, he gets gone. Then I come back in the house, and he gets back there again, and my dogs are just raising heck. Was I just in any trouble if I shot and killed this beast, this animal, or whatever it is? Would I get in any trouble?
I can't answer that question.
If he goes to